forgot to start the recording, so people will have missed the preamble, but that's all right. Those of you here right now, you've got it. So as you allow your attention to drop in and you notice the support beneath you, and you're welcome to kind of just take a journey through your body, as in, what do you notice in regards to how your pelvis and your spine lengthen away from the sit bones, away from the support beneath you? What is can you get a sense of your back body? You get a sense of the space behind you, the base of your skull, your upper back, the back of your diaphragm, the lumbar spine, the back of the pelvis. Just notice this space at your back body. And see if you get a sense of the shape of it. And then over to your right side. And sometimes as you explore to connect into the right side of your body, you might even get an awareness about a textural awareness of certain parts of the right side of you this morning. And just notice, with having taken a little time to sense your back body and your right side, what that feels like. And what does the left side feel like when you haven't really connected to it yet? And then bring your awareness to your left side body, that whole lateral side, the left side of your torso, but also the arm and the leg and your neck. And then take a moment to come into the front side. The front side of you. And then as you deepen your breath, can you get in touch with your inside, with how your lungs are moving? And on top of your lungs, your rib cage. And where is the back of your diaphragm, and how is that space expanding? Can you feel it expand out to the sides? And can you feel it expanding in the back of your lower ribs, where the diaphragm attaches as well? And then you're welcome to also drop down into the abdominal organs. And honoring your presence and this amazing, most remarkable body that you possess, that you are part of, that is you. Bring your hands in front of your heart. And oftentimes, long ago when we started yoga, and we were taught that the word yoga means to join, to yoke, the union the union of body, mind, spirit. So as you deepen your breath, see if you can get a sense of the breath in your body, knowing that every cell is communicating to the next cell, and on and on. Take 2 more deep breaths. And then to open our practice, to send that vibration of sound all the way from the pelvic floor up through all the chakras, through the central channel. We'll chant the sound of Om and sing Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings in all realms find peace and happiness. Taking a deep inhale. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. And with your next exhale, bow your head towards your heart. Release your hands and lift your gaze. All right, so let's just start by taking a simple twist. Whatever position is comfortable for you. We're going to turn to your right first. So you're welcome to have a block if you need it off to your right side. But just let's inhale the arms halfway out, whether you're in Virasana or sitting cross-legged. And as you exhale, rotate towards your right. So the right hand. So you're just kind of, you're saying hello to the spine, to all the tissue, all the cells, all of us. And then we're going to exhale, come back to center. And inhale the arms halfway. And then exhale the other way. Can you keep your breath moving deeply, smoothly? And then with your next exhale, turn back to center. So we're going to warm up our practice. We're going to get the breath moving with Kapalabhati breathing. So with the Kapalabhati, it's about the solar plexus. That's where the movement is happening. So sometimes it's helpful to have a hand down on the solar plexus so you feel the bellows, the pumping action, just like, you know, the bellows that we would use to stoke the fire long ago. In fact, I still have those bellows. So same, we're going to use the bellows of the breath to really get us going. Again, the inhale is passive. It's the exhale that's coming out both nostrils, and it's just a short, quick exhale. The inhale is going to come in. So what we'll do is we're going to do 3 sets, and you know, one set is probably about 30 breaths, somewhere in that ballpark. So if you'll take one hand onto your solar plexus, and to start with, we'll inhale through both nostrils, exhale out both nostrils, and then we'll take just a partial inhale to begin the fast exhales. So here I go, inhaling, exhale, partial inhale, and then take another deep inhale, exhale completely, inhale, suspend the breath, tone the lower abdominals to help keep the chest, its ability to open with that suspended inhale. And then you'll exhale completely. Take another normal inhale and exhale through the nose. And then a short inhale for another round. Exhale completely. Inhale deeply. Another exhale. And then inhale, you'll suspend the inhale. Tone in the belly. You might feel just a lift of the chest. Exhale. Inhale through both nostrils. Deeper breath. Exhale out both. And then just a short inhale. Exhale completely. Inhale deeply. When you're ready, and suspend the breath again, the inhale. And when you're ready, you exhale and just keep the eyes closed for a moment. Just noticing. Very good. Great. And then you're welcome to open your eyes. All right. So hopefully that Kriya, that breath practice makes you feel more uplifted and more ready. Like you're like, okay, let's do it. Let's go for it. Let's do our practice. All right. So let's come over to all fours. And exhale. You can walk yourself to puppy or come up into downward facing dog. And then can we all inhale to a plank pose? So if you're in puppy, you go to table and then you take the legs back. And if you're in downward dog, you just shift yourself forward to plank. Deep breathing, pressing firmly down into the hand, lifting up between the shoulder blades. So the rib cage meets the front of the shoulder blades. How do you tone the deepest abdominal layer? So it's not about lifting the pelvis up, but how do you support so that the abdominal organs are lifted up to meet the front of your spine? And then we'll exhale back, either puppy. If you drop the knees, take puppy, walk the hands forward. Otherwise, downward facing dog again. Whichever you're in, can you deepen your breath? Don't hold the tension in your neck. Reach strongly into the finger pads and knuckles. From the scapula, the shoulder blade reaches to the upper arm bones, reaches to the hands. Another deep inhale. Complete exhale. And then one more time, can we inhale and come to plank? So you either, and if your wrists are a problem, you can go put the forearms on blocks and come to a forearm plank. Lengthen the back of the neck. So you feel the base of the skull lift, the back body. You feel your rib cage meeting the front of your shoulder blades. And what about the lumbar spine? How is that supported? And then we're going to lower both knees to the ground. And just take the hips back. Keep the arms extended. We'll take child's pose. And then walk the hands back and roll onto your back for a moment. Roll onto your back with your knees bent, your feet on the ground. Inhale, take the arms overhead, palms up to the sky, reaching them overhead. And then taking another deep inhale, so you isometrically press the tops of the shins forward. You feel the pubic bone. Go ahead and move the pubic bone between the inner thighs. And then with your exhale, lift your pubic bone up so you feel the low back lengthen on the floor. And again, so we're just moving the pelvis. We're taking the pubic bone between the inner thighs. You might notice the tops of the shins moving towards the skin. And the exhale, when you press into the heels and you let the pelvis roll into a posterior tilt, so the pubic bone towards the navel. And you might notice the upper shin bones move a little away from the skin. Can you do two more? And can you coordinate with your breathing? Great. And then bring your pelvis into neutral and reach the arms back up to the ceiling. And then let's take the arms out to the sides and palms up to the sky. And then you might leave the arms here. You might like to turn the palms toward the floor and walk the hands down just a little bit so they're more at a 45. I want us to just connect into this deepest abdominal layer, so that when we do some more of our practice today, you have that sense of the deeper abdominals that help support you. So can you, and I know this can be a really subtle for some people to find that deeper abdominal layer. But even while you're lying here, if you if you kind of cough, see what happens when you cough. See if you feel a deep layer that comes in to support you. So you take kind of, you go, and do you feel like there's some tone that comes in deep, that wraps all the way around the body? So that's sometimes one way that people can go, oh yeah, I feel something happening, is they just kind of take a little cough. And you feel, oh, there is some tone, and then let that go. Inhale again, and with your next exhale, lift just your heels. And when you do, can you bring that tone in again? This deepest abdominal layer, comes all the way, wraps around the sides. It wraps around your sides. It comes from that whole pubic ramus, pubic bone, hip points, up from the lower ribs, down, everything comes to midline. So when you pick up your heels, you want to also feel, wow, there is something that's supporting me right now. And it's not because I've pulled everything together, it's a deep layer. And then when you bring your heels back down and let go of holding, and see if you feel a little more space across the body. The breath right now can be, when you breathe deeply, you might feel it in the belly. When we have that deep abdominal tone, the breath is not in the belly, the breath is in the ribs. I mean, the breath is always in the ribs, but sometimes we let the breath really move the abdominal organs. But when we want a tone, when we want this deep abdominal tone, we want the abdominal organs to be held in a little bit more of a state that's stable. Luckily, we don't walk around, hopefully, holding that tension in our bellies all the time. One more time. Let's take an inhale. Exhale, lift the heels. Feel the back body lengthen against the floor. Now, when you take a deep inhale, do you feel it in the rib cage? Where is the breath when you've got this deep abdominal tone? And then go ahead and lift the feet from the ground. Lift the shins parallel with the floor. And exhale, let's take some little toe taps. When you do these toe taps on the exhale, can you keep this connection to the floor consistent? If you find when you toe tap down that you feel the lumbar spine arch, I would suggest letting the lower legs dangle and do your toe taps from there. It's a lot easier. You're not have as much weight when the leg is not lifted all the way up. So we're not holding the breath, but the breath is in the rib cage, right? It's not in the belly because you're holding all that steady so that it's not going to pull on the lumbar spine. And then we're going to lower both feet, lower the heels, and release. Great. Okay, let's roll over to the side. Use your arms, push yourself back up. And let's go back to all fours and back into downward facing dog. Let's inhale, forward plank. And exhale, lower both knees. Child's pose. Again, this time, if your knees are okay, can you keep the knees together and really reach the sit bones towards the heels so that we're lengthening through the lumbar spine? And you can pull the hands back and make a little stack to go under your forehead. And then we'll walk the hands back, lift ourselves up. So, and if you're sitting and kneeling and you're okay in kneeling, take a little twist, a simple twist to the right. Otherwise, if that's uncomfortable, you could sit up on a block, both feet on the ground, and just take a simple twist. We're just doing a little twist. And back to the other side. So you go center and then the left. And then back to center. All right. So now I want to do a little opening of the upper back. So if you take two of your blocks end to end, you know, so they're matching up each other, place those on the ground. And then let's take a blanket over the top of that with the rolled end away from you. That might be the right amount. You might, some of you might like, because some of you have neck issues, you might need to take a second blanket or a pillow or something and just add a little extra cervical support. And some of you maybe don't need that. Either way, when you come over this, you're going to sit on the ground in front of it. And you're going to put the shoulder blades up on those blocks, hands behind the head. And can you have a little tone in the belly? So not being in a hurry, elbows toward each other. But I'm going to start to come up and over my blocks. And I'm going to try to keep the lower ribs down. So they're not going to be lifting skyward. As I come up and over. So you can have the hands can stay on the head the whole time. And some of you might go, oh, my neck. So then you've got your extra little pillow or support that you can just pull into that. Well, let me get my blanket here to show you. You can pull it into that neck space right there so that the neck has it's almost like it gives it a little spacer. So then lift the top of the breastbone. If your neck is happy, if your head is happy, you might take the arms and reach them overhead, palms facing each other or palms to the sky. And let the collarbones roll up. So the tissue that goes up to the collarbones, if you've got the arms overhead, let the collarbones roll up towards the throat. The upper ribs roll up. And we might straighten the legs. We might even straighten the legs here, some of us. And reach out the balls of the feet. And then I'm going to take my hands, if they're overhead, put them back behind my head, elbows toward each other, so I'm broad across the upper back. I'll bend one of my knees, so one foot is on the ground, one leg straight. Then with your next exhale, lift your chin toward your chest. And then you might reach both arms forward. And see if you can sit up without, using momentum, but that's just one way to kind of see, oh, what's going on for me. All right, and then you're gonna turn back around and take your stack. You could have two blankets, your blocks, turn it, and take a downward facing dog again. So you might make a little stack to rest your forehead upon. Yes. Great. Oh, this is good. And then go ahead, lower the knees and walk the hands back. And let me show you where we're going. So I have 2 blankets on top of 2 blocks, right? And I'm going to take that flying Salabhasana pose that some of you know, where when I lie over my blanket stack, I feel the blocks underneath right about the level of a broad line there. I've got my toes on the ground and my hands on the floor. Back of my neck is long. When I go to this pose, I'm going to keep a little of that deep abdominal, right? That little support in there, so that this isn't going to be complete, that there's going to be support for my low back. So I'm going to begin to lift my legs, take my arms wide, palms facing midline. Little lift in the belly. So you'll be Salabhasana and release it, okay? You ready? Or maybe you went and you did one and now you're resting. But whichever, here we go. Palms on the ground, toes tucked under. You'll remember, I'm just going to remind you, a little tone in the belly, as well tone at the inner thigh. Remember the inner thigh tone to midline. And when you're ready, let's lift the legs and take the arms straight back. Then lift the top of the breastbone, roll the upper collarbones, and exhale, release, and rest. Draped over your little stack there. And then we're going to take one more. So I'd like you to do at least 3 total. This time, let's take the sequence a little different. Hands on the ground, toes are tucked under. And this time, there's a little tone in the belly. You're going to reach the arms back first. Roll through the upper collarbones, roll up, manubrium, and maybe I lift the legs. And then release. Hands come down, press into the earth, press down, and take child's pose. You can take the head to that little stack there. And breathe deeply. See if you can feel the breath across your low back. Broad across the low back. Very nice. And then let's go ahead and walk ourselves back up. Let's move the blankets off to one side. And let's put your blocks at the top of your mat so that we've got them when we need them. And let's take downward facing dog. Inhale deeply, exhale, walk your hands towards your feet. Bowing forward. Inhale, coming up. And exhale, hands back in front of the heart. Step forward towards the blocks. Hands in front of the heart. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, lift both arms. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, let's step the right foot back. So we'll be in a low lunge. And inhale, arms out and upright. You might lift the arms. Inhale the arms out. Exhale, bow forward. Let's come all the way down to plank. Inhale in plank pose. Exhale while you're there. Are you lifting the back body up without lifting the butt up, but really supporting from the front body toward the back body. And then we'll come a little forward on the toes, bring the knees down and the chest down. And with your next inhale, cobra. Tone at the inner thigh. Top of the breastbone. Exhale, lower. Inhale, all fours. Exhale, puppy or downward dog. Inhaling deeply. Exhale, step the right foot forward. You can always have hands on blocks here. And inhale upright, arms out. Arms up. Inhale the arms wide. Exhale, bow. Let's inhale, step forward. And exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, bow. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hands in Anjali Mudra. And again, inhale, lift both arms. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, downward facing dog. Or you could take puppy. We're going to inhale and lift the right leg. Exhale, right foot forward. Inhale, upright. Back inner thigh is strong, a lot of tone with those adductors on the back leg. Inhale the arms out. You're going to exhale to plank pose. Inhale forward in your plank pose. Exhale, the knees can touch and the chest. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, lower. Inhale, all fours. Exhale, either puppy or downward facing dog. With your next inhale, lift your left leg. And exhale, left foot forward. And inhale, arms out and up. Inhale, lift your arms. Lift the top of the breastbone. Inhale the arms out. Exhale, bow. Inhale, step forward. And exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hands back in front of the heart. And then release both arms. All right, so you've got your blocks and your blanket. Let's put a blanket to go back to support the back knee when we come down, and we'll have our blocks. We're going to use those as well. So when you're ready, inhale, lift your arms. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. And exhale, we'll step the right foot back. I'm going to take my blocks back. So I've got my right foot back. I'm going to pull my blanket back slightly. And let's bring the right knee down to a blanket. And we're going to take the left foot. I'm going to take my block down on the lowest setting, put my left foot up there. So my left heel will definitely connect to the block. The left toes might be off the block. And I'm going to pull my right block back. So now the left knee is going in front of the left thigh. The left pubic bone, where is it going? Is it going, oh, can you allow it to go away from the left inner thigh? So you're not holding the left pubic bone, you're not holding the pubic bone up. You're letting it go, but you're keeping a little tone at the deep low belly, so you're not going to let the front of the right hip completely go forward. You're going to keep just a little tone above the right pubic bone, just to support a little bit about the right front hip. Left hand at the top of the left thigh. Then can I lift? What happens when I lift the top of the breastbone a little? Keep the base of the skull lifted. Still having that little tone at the right front, right about between the pubic bone and the right inner hip. Little tone there. So when I lift at the top of the breastbone, I'm keeping a little tone at the right at the inside of the right hip joint. All right, and then let's let that go. Let's take downward dog for a moment. And then we'll inhale, there's plank. Exhale, let's lower the knees to the blanket. And then we'll walk the hands back. So there's the left block. We're gonna take right foot on top of the block. Right heel is on the block. I'll make my left block very tall. Okay. Oh, and the other piece is remembering at the top of the right hip, remember the midpoint at the top of the right hip, is that able to open all the way out to the greater trochanter on the right? So that you don't feel it pulling you this into midline. You want to let it go all the way out. A little tone between the left, the pubic bone on the left and the inner left hip joint. And then can I keep that tone there while I start to lift a little through the top of the breastbone? If I had a wall, that would be really nice. I could get some support from the wall. And then we'll exhale and we'll release this. And we'll take downward dog again. And let's move the blanket out of the way, the one that was under the knees. Inhale, come forward to plank. And exhale, let's lower the knees and find child's pose if it's okay with the knees and the hips and the ankles. Make a little, you can stack the hands. Sometimes I like taking my hands in a prayer position and my thumbs towards my forehead. All right, and then walk the hands back. Okay, one more piece here that I want to do before we head to camel is I'm going to take, I've done this with you before, some of you. I'm going to have my blocks like this, so they're going to be kind of at an angle. They're on the lowest setting. Those are going to be for my forearms. And then knowing the shape of my lumbar spine, which tends to be probably a little more lordotic, a little more curved. Therefore, I'm going to put a blanket that'll go under my pelvis in a moment. So that when I come out across here, I'm going to have my forearms on the blocks, my hands clasped, kind of like headstand. So there's a little space between the palms. And I can take a forearm plank. I'm pressing into that wide part of the forearm, up and out of the shoulders. I wonder if my blanket's in the right spot. So we'll be here for a moment. And then I'm going to remember about the deep abdominal tone. So that even as I come a little forward, I'm not going to totally let the low back. I want to support my low back. Yeah, I think I want this a little forward. Because I'm going to bring my pelvis, to the blanket and keep lifting. But I'm also thinking about how I lift through the back body, even as I lift through the front. How do I balance front to back? And then I'll tuck the toes and go back up here. Okay? Want to try that? So you've got the blocks set up for forearms. You might have 1 or 2 blankets down. That'll support your pelvis. If you have a question, please feel free to ask it by, hitting the space bar or unmuting. And then when you're ready, you're going to come out and you'll be on all fours to start, and then take the forearms on the blocks, clasp the hands. So you weave the fingers together. Then you're going to press down into that wide part of the forearm. And then take one leg back and then the other, so you'll be in a forearm plank. And again, in this forearm plank, how do you support the back body? How is the back body being supported right now? And the shoulders. Make sure you're pressing firmly into the shoulders so that you don't feel like you're sagging your weight down. You're lifting by pressing into the forearms. Yeah, good, great. And then find the deep, you've got that deep abdominal tone, right? And so now you're gonna go ahead and begin to make a little shift forward. So you shift a little forward, lifting through top of the breastbone. Keep the tone in the belly. You're not in a hurry. And then you might find the pelvis finds the blankets. Relax the top of the feet. And keep beginning to lift. And as you lift, can you also think about at the spine, how the back of the spine lifts up? Like the little, the sticky outy bits called the transverse processes, make them be more lifted up. Press into the forearms. Good. And then we'll tuck the toes, lift the pelvis up, shift the shoulders back, and lower the knees. And walk yourself back to a child's pose, like pose. Nice, great. All right, and then walk yourself up. And let's take a little twist for a moment. So we can take a blanket or two, whatever, sit on that. And we'll just take Marichyasana 3. So we'll have, you could take your left foot to the floor, right leg long. You can sit on a block or you can sit on a blanket, whatever you need to get, just to have a little bit of height. And then you're gonna turn towards the bent knee. Turn towards the bent knee. Back to center. Switch sides. Inhaling, and when you're ready with the exhale, right behind the navel, you can either be hugging the knee with the crook of the elbow, or maybe you have the outer elbow meeting the outer knee. And then we'll come back to center. Great. All right. And then can we set up with 2 blocks, blanket, blanket again. Oh, I wish I could give you, if you have a bolster too, grab your bolster. If you have another blanket, grab another blanket. You're gonna take, oh, and some of you might even want I think I'll take this yoga mat and pad my knees a little more so that there'll be more cushion. We're gonna stand on the knees. I'm gonna take this bolster and put it on top of my ankles even, so that there's more height there, so that we're gonna take a camel pose. So I have two blankets folded in half lengthwise, my ankles on top of that, and another bolster. So you could use pillows and blocks and a chair, you know, but we just build ourselves up some height already. And then let's take the hands and put them at the top of the pelvis. And if it's okay for your wrist, can you point the fingers a little more up? And then reach down the inner thigh towards the knees. Find a little tone, right? That transversus, that deep abdominal tone. And then we'll inhale, lift through the top of the breastbone. There's the exhale as well. Still reaching down through the inner thighs toward the knees. And then we're going to inhale, come up, and we're going to just rest for a moment. You might sit back on the heels. We'll do 2 more. There's no destination in mind. We're just opening and supporting whatever is happening, right? With a little lift through here, but not forgetting about the support we want through the midline of the body. So when you're ready, stand up on your knees again. Take your hands. If it's okay with the wrist, point them up a little. Inhale deeply. And exhale. Lift yourself up. Lift up through the front body. You can always keep looking forward if your neck is not happy, looking up. And then we'll come up and we'll just take a break again for a moment, just like relaxing in that vertical. So with the head, only release the head back if it feels fine, if it feels supportive and comfortable. Otherwise, you can keep lifting through the chest and looking straight ahead. You know, so you want to support yourself. This is all for the long haul, right? Not for the immediate gratification, but what sustains us. All right, so one more time. We'll stand up on the knees. We know we want to reach all the way down the inner thighs to the knees, that the inner thighs are toned. And then I take a deep inhale, and as I exhale, I begin to lift at the top of the breastbone, to broaden the collarbones. Now I might take my hands back and find the bolster, or I might find, oh my gosh, I can actually find my feet. And then we'll come back out. And we'll sit just for a moment in Bhadrasana. So just sitting, if it's okay, you could grab a block and put it between the heels, just sitting. Or you could sit up on your stack. If your knees aren't happy with that, you might just sit up on this tower with the feet out in front of you. We're just going to take a really simple twist. So you're welcome to take the right hand behind you, left hand across to the outer knee. So you could do this either kneeling, or if the knees aren't happy, both feet on the floor. This won't be the only twist we do. We'll come back to center. Exhale when you're ready to the other side. Just simple opening. Great. And then come out of that. And then if you had your yoga mat folded up, you could take it back out. I want to take Ardha Matsyendrasana 2. That is where it'd be great if you had a strap. And you might sit on, again, a blanket or maybe 2 blankets, depending. On this one, we're gonna have the strap. This is a twist, and it also has a little forward movement. So let's take a strap with a small loop in it. Yeah, so I have a little loop in my strap. So that here, I'm gonna do 1 blanket. Right leg straight. My left foot is gonna find my inner knee. And because my left knee isn't touching the ground, I'm gonna put a little support underneath that knee. And then I'm gonna take the strap around the straight leg foot. The tail of that strap is gonna come towards the bent knee. I'm gonna reach the straight leg arm behind me, finds the strap. And then the opposite arm, the bent knee arm is reaching forward towards the foot, towards the strap. Here we are. And we're gonna take a little bit of a twist towards the straight leg. And a little bit, there's a little forward. So back of the diaphragm can lift up a little bit as you are turning in that direction of the straight leg. And then we'll come back to center. Yeah. And we'll switch sides. So switch sides. So that'll be my left leg straight. My right foot's gonna come to my inner left knee because I don't sit in lotus pose. So I put some support under that knee. Straight leg foot has a loop. And then from that straight leg, I'm gonna take the tail of the strap around the opposite hip and then bring the straight leg arm, my left arm, back to reach over to my right outer hip. Right arm forward reaches towards my straight leg, towards my strap. And here I go again, enjoying another twist. This isn't the first Ardha Matsyendrasana 2 I've done today. Still good, but it is different than when I did it earlier today. So I'm happy about that. I'm just happy to know things have moved. I feel, hopeful. Oh, dang. Kicked me up. You've been signed out. What? Someone knocked me out. What happened? Who did that?
You're okay on our end, Lynn. I can.
Oh, really? How wonderful. Okay.
And still see other people, so I think you're good.
Okay, so that's great. Zoom says they knocked me out, but there you guys are, hopefully. And you're gonna go ahead and release that twist. Maybe Zoom will bring me back in, who knows? And there you are. And now go ahead and take a reclining twist. I mean, not twist, but lie on your back. Lie on your back with your knees bent. And bring the knees to your chest. Thanks for letting me know, Ellie, because all I see right now is a white Zoom screen. that says, I've been dismissed. But at any rate, bring yourself knees to the chest. Inhale the knees and arms length away. Exhale, hug them in. Again, do that 2 more times where you inhale the knees and arms length away. You exhale, you hug them in. And then bring yourself to Shavasana. You might want a little support under the knees for Shavasana, or some of you might enjoy just being lying out on the ground. And you're welcome to allow your breath to deepen. Begin to awaken your body to movement. Make a mindful transition over to one side. Take your time, pressing yourself back up to sitting. Bringing your hands in front of your heart. Namaste, everyone, if you're still there. And even if you're not. I don't see anyone, so I don't know if
We're still here, Lynn. I think sometimes when someone signs out, you end up with their screen. So it may be someone else's screen that you're seeing.
Still there. I would have no.
You are all still there. You
We're
were
all
all
here.
still here.
We're all
Yeah.
here. And I thought I was just talking to myself. There you are. You just
Yeah.
did that. That's so funny. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. At least I, you know.